This is the underclassman final test review, the second part, because we did the first few questions yesterday. We're going to finish up these problems today. And then any questions that you have, you guys are free to ask me. You can try over the break. I'll answer my emails here and there. If you have questions, I have no problems trying to help out an email there. But if not, Monday when we come back, or Tuesday when we come back after Memorial Day, is our review day. So the first thing you need to look at, guys, in a question like this is it says find the standard form of, I spelled the equation wrong, but find the standard form of the equation of an ellipse, right? Ellipse, that means you should go back to your little cheat sheet and say, okay, what is my equation of an ellipse? And there's one thing I want to add to that cheat sheet. We didn't have, I didn't put the asymptotes on there for the hyperbolas, which I will have on the solutions when I upload it, but just so you guys have it. So when I think about what they gave me here, all right, if you look back at our little cheat sheet for an ellipse, it talks about the length of the major axis and the minor axis. Remember, A is our major, it's the big one. B is the minor. So they told us two things here. They told me that the minor axis length is 10. So that means you can say 2B equals 10. So if I divide both sides by 2, B equals 5. Correct? All right, so we're going to have to find out our A value, our B value, and our C value. And we also have to find the vertex. We can do those things by what's given to us. We just found out that the B value is 5. So now I'm going to give myself a little picture. My two foci are at 0, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. At 0, 1. So I have one right here. And I have a foci at 6, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up 1. All right, those are my foci. Where would the vertex be in reference to our foci? In the what?
Center?
In the center, yeah, in the middle. So you can either count or you can do the midpoint formula, 0 plus 6 divided by 2, and 1 plus 1 divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So your vertex, your H and your K is at 3, 1. So 3, 1, 3, 1. That's our vertex, our center. So in order to write the equation of our ellipse, we need our H and our K, and we also need our A and B. Well, I have B. That's great. What do I also have just by looking at this little picture that I drew? Do I have the A value or do I have the C value? Just by looking at my picture. What's the distance from the vertex to the foci?
C.
C. So how many spaces is it from here? 1, 2, 3. Or from here to here? 1, 2, 3. So my C value is 3. Now I can find A. For an ellipse, guys, we have a little tiny equation. It's C squared equals A squared what? B squared. For an ellipse. You guys, minus, good. You have it on your paper in front of you. You should. So you have 3 squared equals, we don't know what A is, minus 5 squared. So 9 equals A squared minus 25. We're going to add 25 to both sides. And A squared equals 34. So my A value is the square root of 34, correct? Yes or no? All right, so we have everything we need, guys. We have everything we need. First of all, is this going to be a horizontal ellipse or a vertical one? Which is bigger, my A or my B? You guys don't know if square root of 34 is bigger than 5? What's 5 squared? 25. So square root of 34 is bigger than square root of 25. So my equation would be x minus h squared over a squared minus, right? Y minus k squared over b squared equals 1? Or is it a plus? Come on, guys, stay with me. Plus or minus in the middle for an ellipse. Come on. Plus in the middle for an ellipse. for our standard form, and it's minus for our little c squared equation. So I have x minus 3 squared over 34 plus y minus 1 squared over 25 equals 1. Could you have written it with y minus 1 quantity squared first? Absolutely, as long as what was underneath that y minus 1? The 25. Yep, just as long as you guys, it's totally okay because they're both positive. It doesn't, it's all right if you write it backwards. This is a multiple choice test, so you guys are going to have to pick the correct answer, so you should be good to go on that. All right, let's look at the next one. Let's go together and look at this one. We're talking about a what? First thing I need to identify is what we're talking about. We're talking about an equation of a parabola. Okay, so let's think about the stuff we know about a parabola. Remind yourself again, your parabola opens towards your focus. Away from what? Away from what? The directrix. Thank you. All right, so let's draw a little picture so we can see. So I have -3. Why did I draw like that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So -3, 6 is my vertex. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5, 6 is my focus. Opens towards the focus, right? So like that. So what kind of a parabola do I have? Is it a y squared or an x squared? If it's opening, right, it's a y squared. So I know that I'm going to use the formula. What's my standard form? Y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. Do I already have my k and my h? Do I already have my k and my h? Yes, thank you. Now, how do I find the p? Talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. How do we find the p? Your p is the distance from the vertex to the focus. How far is it from the vertex to the focus? How far is it from -3 to +5? 8. So if I was going to fill this in, I have y minus k. My k is -3. So would you guys agree it's y plus 3 squared equals 4 times, what is the distance from the focus to the vertex? 8 times x minus my h value, which is 6. So your standard form of your parabola is y plus 3 quantity squared equals 32 times x minus 6. Now, I'm hoping that you guys are just tired. We're not really into it, but you guys have got all these little things. That's why I gave you the breakdown of the standard form of the equations and stuff, but all these little things you guys have to know. You have to be able to look at a parabola and say, okay, the p value is, if you need to write that down, write it down. P equals the distance from vertex to the focus of the directrix. We talked about that yesterday. All right, given the vertex, guys, if they give me a vertex, I can already write, this is my h, this is my k, right? The directrix is y equals -1. That means we're talking about a parabola, right? Yeah. My parabola opens where? Towards or away? Away. Good. That's important information. I know some of you are like, why does that matter? It's important to tell you which direction you're looking at. So draw yourself a quick little picture. It doesn't have to be anything perfect, but I go -1, +3. Here's my vertex. And my directrix is at y equals -1. Well, here is the line y equals -1. Which way does your parabola open? Towards or away? Away. So it opens this way. So this tells you what kind of a parabola you have, which is a what? Is this an x squared or a y squared? It's an x squared. So you have x minus h squared equals 4p times y minus k. I already have my h and my k, and I actually already have the p. What is the p? How far is it from the focus, your vertex to the directrix? How many spaces? How many spaces is right here? 4. So now you have everything you need to plug in. I have x minus h is -1, so x plus 1 squared equals 4 times, what was my p? 4 times y minus k, which is 3. So x plus 1 squared equals 4 times 4 is what? 16 times y minus 3. That kind of coming back to us now. Hyperbola, hyperbola, hyperbola. All right, we have one more ellipse and then 3 hyperbolas. Parabolas seem to be the ones that are the hardest for us, so that might be what we want to focus on a little more as we're reviewing. But look, equation of an ellipse. It says, given the standard form of the ellipse, identify A, B, and C, the vertices, the foci, all that good stuff. All right, you guys can tell me a lot just by looking. Just by looking. Go ahead and name some things. What's my center? +9, -3. How did you get that, Kennedy? Your center is H and K, right? The opposite of what you see. Okay, now what? Okay, what's A? Think about it. We're talking about an ellipse. Yep. Ellipse, the bigger number is your A. So my A would be 5. Tell me what that tells me about distance from stuff. Anybody remember? What do I use? What value, or when I'm trying to find vertices versus foci? Add and subtract. Right? So which one? Well, we can talk about that in a second. That's fine. What is this? B squared? So this is 3, right? And then how do I find out what C is if I have an ellipse? C squared equals A squared what? Minus B squared. Good. So C, we don't know what it is. I have 25 minus 9, right? Which is 16. Square root of 16 is 4. All right, so tell me, guys, 5, 3, and 4. 2 of those numbers are super duper important when I'm trying to find stuff. What do I use the 5 for? To find vertices or foci?
Vertices.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Vertices. And I use the C value for the foci. So think about what kind of a ellipse we're talking about. Is this an x squared or a y squared? Which is bigger, guys, 25 or 9? So y. That means I'm going to add and subtract to the y of the vertex. I'm going to add and subtract to the y of the vertex. It's important to identify all this stuff. If you know the direction, then you know what you're going to add and subtract to. So if I'm going to find the vertices, I have my center, my vertex, however you want to name it. I'm going to add and subtract 5 to the y part. So I would have vertices at 9, what's -3 minus 5? -8. And I'd have them at 9, what's -3 plus 5? 2. Say that with a little more confidence. 2. All right, now let's do our foci. I'm going to add and subtract what number? 4 to the y part. So I have -3 minus 4 is what? -7. And then I have 9, what's -3 plus 4? Good. Good, good, good. Remember, in our hyperbolas and our ellipses, that A value is the distance from the vertex or center, however you want to say it, to the vertices. C value is to the foci. Let's look at these last three. Find the standard form of the equation of the hyperbola, okay? When I think about hyperbola, let's just talk through this for a second. What sign's going to go in the middle between my two fractions in a hyperbola? Is it a plus or a minus in a hyperbola? It's a minus. That means in my c squared equation, what goes in the middle of a and b? Plus. Good. Okay, good. All right, so find the vertices and standard for the equation of the hyperbola given these characteristics. So let's draw a little picture. How about that? Ooh, that's a nice straight line there. All right, my vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 2, negative 2. So 2, negative 2. And then at 2, positive 8, way up here. These are my vertices. And then my foci are at 2, negative 3. So 2, negative 3. And at 2, 9. Okay, I have a major axis where all of my information lies. Is it vertical or is it horizontal? If I was to connect all these dots, what kind of a line would I make? A vertical. So this is a y. This is a y squared ellipse, or hyperbola. So I need to find the vertex. Where's the vertex going to be? Where's the center of this hyperbola? It's going to be in between what? In between the two vertices. Good. So you can count, or you can do a little bit of math here. 2 divided by 2, 2 plus 2 divided by 2, and then negative 2 plus 8 divided by 2. So 2 plus 2 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. Negative 2 and 8 is 6. Divided by 2 is what? 3. So my H and my K are at 2, 3. That's the middle. It's the center. So now we can figure out the A and the B and the C. All right, A equals, B equals, C equals. How far is it from the, what is your A value? Let's see if you guys can articulate that to me. What is A? How'd you get 5? Distance from vertice to center. Good. I'm sorry. Yep. All right. Do I know my B value? Can I just look at it and tell what B is? No. Can I look at it and tell what C is? What's C? Distance from foci to what? To the center. How far is it? From this red dot to the blue dot. 6. Can we find B? Yep. C squared equals A squared what? Plus B squared. Good. So 6 squared equals 5 squared plus B squared. 36 equals 25 plus B squared. Minus 25 from both sides. B squared equals what? (36 minus 25). 11. So B equals the square root of 11. Now we have all the stuff we need. We needed our center, and we needed our A value and our B value to write our equation of our hyperbola. So we can do that. We can say x minus 2, that's the h part, over what? Yep. 5 squared is 25. Good. Minus y minus 3 squared over 11 equals 1. Good. All right, find the vertices and the asymptotes of the hyperbola. Well, I know this is a hyperbola, so I know in my mind what it should look like. But right away, I know something's wrong because my hyperbola should be set equal to... Yes, and it is not. So how do I do that? Divide everything by 100. Good. So I have y squared over 25 minus what? X squared over 4 equals 1. All right, now you guys have a ton of information from this. Is this a vertical or a horizontal hyperbola? Why? You're right. Because the y squared, the bigger. All right, what's my a value then? A value is 5 because this is a squared. Good. What is my b value? 2 because this is b squared. Good. What's my center? 0, 0. Perfect, guys. Very good. So if you were going to find the vertices, think about what you would add and subtract to what value of the center to get your vertices. What goes with vertices? A or B? A. Okay, this goes with my vertices. What kind of a hyperbola is this? A vertical. So you're going to add and subtract to what? Yep. So my vertices would be at 0, positive 5, and at 0 what? Very good. How do I find the asymptotes? Anybody remember? The formula. All right, let's write down this formula. It's K plus or minus what? If it's a vertical, what is it? A over B or B over A? It is A over B. Good. A over B times X minus H. So I have 0 plus or minus. My A is 5 over B is 2 times X minus 0. So I really have an asymptote at negative 5 halves X and Y equals positive 5 halves X. You guys can tell so much about all of this stuff just by looking. We got one more problem to do. All right, look at this one. Ay, 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 ay. What do you know? Right away, you're like, oh, we have to complete the square because this is not in standard form. So let's get it in standard form. All right, let's just keep our x's together. 11x squared minus 110x plus the box. And then what do I have? Negative 25y squared minus 100y plus the box. Then what do I do with this 100? I'm going to add it to the other side. Good. All right, so when we're completing, guys, we're going to complete here and complete here. I'll do it in different colors. When we're completing the square, we want our coefficients of x squared and y squared to be 1. What do you think I can take out of both 11 and 110? 11. Okay, let's take out an 11. So I'm left with x squared minus, what's 110 divided by 11? 10 plus the box. Okay, good. Now let's do the same thing over here. You could do it one at a time or whatever, however you want to do it. What should I take out of negative 25y squared and then at negative 100? A negative 25. Good. So that leaves me with y squared plus 4y, right? Plus the box. We still have equals 100 over here. All right, now we can complete the square, make this nice and pretty. So I have negative 10 divided by 2 gives me negative 5. So my parenthesis is x minus 5 quantity squared with my 11 out in front. And then when I square negative 5, I get 25 here, correct? Am I adding 25 to the other side? I have to multiply 11 times 25. And what do I get? 275? Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to bring down I'm going to complete the square here. 4 divided by 2 is 2, right? So I have minus 25, and then my parenthesis is y plus 2 squared. When I square 2, it goes right here, so I get 4. But am I just adding 4? What do I have to do? Negative 25 times 4 gives me what? Minus 100. So when I simplify over here, guys, what's 100 plus 275 minus 100? Just 275. Those will cancel out. Now we're getting close. We're getting very close to our equation that we're looking for. But this equation should be set equal to what? Should be set equal to 1. How can I make that happen? Divide everything by 275. So over here, I'm left with x minus 5 squared over, anybody know what 275 divided by 11 is? 25. So I have minus, what's 275 divided by 25? Equals 1. So there is your equation in standard form. We're good to go. Set equal to 1, minus sign in the middle. Now think about this. If you're asked to identify vertices, if I'm trying to find them, are based upon which value, A or B? A. So my A value is how much? 5. Good. Goodness, Carver. What is the center? What's my H and my K for this hyperbola? Positive 5, negative 2, right? Here's my H, here's my K. So if I was going to find the vertices, and I know that this is a horizontal, how do I know that that's horizontal? Why do I know that's horizontal? Because the X has the bigger denominator. So I'm going to add and subtract 5 to my H or my K? To my H. So my vertices for this problem would be at 5 plus 5 is 10 comma negative 2, and 5 minus 5 would be 0 comma negative 2. If you guys were asked to find the asymptotes, you have your A value, your B value would be the square root of 11, and then you would just use the formula, and this, since it's a horizontal, it would be B over A. Questions? You guys all right?